Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things AEW and WWE. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in-depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Join us as we dive into the high-octane action, dramatic storylines, and backstage buzz of AEW and WWE. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling. After a brief hiatus, we're back and ready to break down all the action from our new location. I'm your host, Josh, the Warlord of Wrestling, and joining me, as always, is my incredible co-host, the Baroness of Body Slams, Dawn. Tonight, we're covering WWE Raw from February 17th. Let's get into it. I know it's been a while, so let's see if we still got this. We start this episode of Raw with, surprisingly, Sami Zayn walk into the arena. And I use walk in loosely. It was more like limping. Because of the devastating, nerve-damaging, nearly career-ending package pile driver from Kevin Owens just a week before. Sammy, you're made of sterner stuff because Randy Orton has been demolished from a lamer pile driver for like going on 3 months now. So you the man.
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it 100. As the youth say. I'm gonna go right on up there on a limb and say that I think that Randy Orton got hit so hard that he has been removed from the WWE roster and the memories of about 75% of the fan base currently. Who dey? True story.
Who?
True story. Exactly. Yeah, I woke up this morning and I was like, I feel like there used to be another wrestler in the world. Couldn't remember who until you said his name earlier. Randy something.
Kevin Orton. Randy
Owens.
Wait,
yes!
which one is it?
Randy Owens. You got it. Nailed it. Randy Owens.
Well,
Randy Owens, guys.
Suffice it to say, Sami Zayn has managed to, in only a week or so, recover enough to be able to walk out on his own power. To this episode of Raw, which I believe is taking place in Canada.
Oh, is that it?
No, not yet. It's premature. Canada is going to be next week. I think this was Charlotte, North Carolina. Now that I remember it, I remember thinking, oh man, they're in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's the show that Charlotte's not on.
Yeah.
That's her hometown.
He was fueled by pre-Canadian power. Like, he gets filled up real quick. Both him and Kevin. They get fueled up by Canadian distance. Like if the closer they get, the more powerful they become.
Like, if you want Sami Zayn to kick out of anything, all you got to do is say Toronto, and he'll be like, no.
No. Oh no, you sing the national anthem for Canada.
Oh, Canada. No.
For Canada. Yeah, that's what you do.
Kazuchka Canada? No, wait.
Oh my god. It's like we're stoned.
What? No.
My god.
Moving on to the actual show, Sami Zayn does make his way into the ring, flexes his neck a few times to try and make sure that we all realize that this is a real injury and not kayfabe.
Yeah, he just kept rubbing his collarbone and like his neck and just
tried to make sure that whenever he moved, it was like torso entirely and not like I twisted my neck.
Yeah.
But he goes on to say that him and Kevin Owens have been through all of it, like from the beginning, like all the way back when they were wrestling on the independents and in community centers, all the way up through NXT, WWE, and WrestleMania. They did it all together. And he went on to say, now in a story that long, there's obviously going to be betrayals. And you and I both, when we were watching that, was like, no, long
No,
friendships aren't usually brought
no,
with a
not
lot of betrayals.
not a lot of trails. I mean,
I
not unless you're in a sitcom, a made-for-television drama, uh, a reality television show, like any one of those. Yeah, that could lend you
I
some
mean,
drama every now and again. But in a long standing personal relationship between two people, like a good friendship, you're not gonna find a whole bunch of betrayals there.
yeah, I mean, like you're probably one of the people that I've known longest on this planet, and I still haven't pile driven you yet.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, we have yet to. We have yet to be wrought with betrayals. There was that one time that I finished off the Reese's peanut butter cereal. There was that. Um,
Yeah, but I mean, that wasn't my cereal, so I'm like, it's all good. Um,
I mean, so I really can't think of anything that would lend itself to me going, our relationship.
Yeah,
Betrayed.
I'm just saying, if this is the norm, then you and I are past due for like sharing a choke slam and a power bomb or something. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah,
So,
there was at people's elbow in the kitchen.
yeah, but I think that was accidental, right?
Oh,
Like bumped into you or something. Um, but that notwithstanding, he goes on to mention to Kevin this time,
this
however,
time though. This time.
unlike others where we forgave and forgot, this time there's no forgiving and no forgetting.
Is this one feels different?
Because you didn't give him a concussion. He remembers everything.
Yes.
Um, but
You
he
did
goes
not
on to say
finish the
that this
job.
time is different because instead of, betraying me to do something noble like climb the ranks or, something like that, you were actually trying to end his career this time. And he says the problem is that you didn't get the job done. So he wants a fight in Toronto because Canada at the Elimination Chamber.
Canada power.
And this is when he who kills all that is fun and good, Adam Pearce, shows up to more or less tell Sammy,
Uh,
nah, bruh. This match, you're not medically cleared, so hell no.
he's such
And
a
Sammy,
dysfunctional manager.
he really is. Like this has some heat on it. People would want to see it. They want Sammy to get his comeuppance. But of course, Adam Pearce is like, nah, bruh. So Sammy says, you've known me a long time, because that would change the no to a yes, I guess.
Yeah, you say that.
I say that because apparently somehow it ends up doing so.
Yep.
He says, you've known me for a long time, and I'm too stubborn to leave this ring until you give me that match, in a nutshell. And
Mhm.
Adam Pearce goes on to say, yeah, I've known you a long time, more than 20 years. And he says, you know, what do you want me to do? You're not cleared. I can't sanction this. So what do you want me to do? And this is all leading up to him suggesting that this is going to be an unsanctioned match.
I mean, of
And he
course,
says,
right? If you don't
you know,
know,
if you, but he makes the point, if it's unsanctioned, you know that if Kevin wants to wrap a chair around your face or drag you up to the concourse and beat you senseless or pile drive you on your head like 94 more times, Adam Pearce is powerless to stop him. Which I question, even if it's unsanctioned, if it's taking place there, security could still step in to prevent Kevin from like murdering Sammy on national television. But I digress. Let's play along. And Sammy says, yeah, I understand that. That also means that if I wanted to wrap a chair around Kevin's head or beat him senseless in the concourse or drop him on his head a whole bunch of times, you would be powerless to stop me. And so Adam Pearce finally relents and says, in Toronto at Elimination Chamber, it'll be Kevin Owens one-on-one with Sami Zayn, but it's not official. It's unsanctioned. And everybody's like, oh my God, an unsanctioned match, which means that somebody's going to get hit with a kendo stick twice. No, I digress. That actually wasn't fair. That was back in the day. Like that last match between Cody and Kevin Owens, like they could do some cool shit unsanctioned, I think, now in the WWE. Maybe on Netflix they can get away with more. The
Yeah.
sponsors aren't so squeamish about violence. So I expect this to be brutal and a banger because you're definitely going to have to outdo what Cody and Kevin did because it's Sammy and Kevin now and they've known each other forever. So if there's anyone who should know best how to beat the shit out of one another, it's you two.
Yeah, agreed. They better bring it. That's all I know. But
Yeah.
given that we've seen these two in the ring a lot, and I'm not complaining about that, but we've seen them in the ring a lot, and this feels different to them. If this is supposed to be like they're kind of pinning it like it's going to be like this epic like mega like end all be all blowouts. And if that's the case, then yeah, it better be that. Like they
Yeah.
better really
Yep.
bring it in the ring because both of these dudes still can. So let's go.
Yeah, they're pitching it like it's the one for all of them final battle between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And it's
Yeah,
like, I agree with you. If they say it's going to be different, then it damn well better be different. It better not
yeah.
be like, oh, like that time they said it was like a street fight and all that meant was that somebody went halfway up the aisle and then back to the ring.
Oh, you're
Like
talking
this.
about that epic match between Cody and Shinsuke, right?
Oh, man. I would love to block it out of my mind, but it was so terrible that I feel I am traumatized. And so I have trauma memory.
Yeah, that
Um,
quote unquote street match where they go up the ramp twice. Like, I'm
yeah,
sorry, up the ramp once, down the ramp once, and then they were
back
back
to
in
the
the
ring.
ring. Boop boop.
Yep.
Yeah, great match.
Yep. It was lame. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, if they're gonna build this as it's like, the one, the be all end all between these two, and with 20 years of betrayal after betrayal history, then it better deliver.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I
moving
was
on from
wondering
there.
how we were gonna
Oh,
get there. Sorry, I'm sorry. I was wondering how we were gonna get there because I knew, even when they were, I think what, not less than or not more than a year and some change, they were tag team champions, and I was wondering then how are we gonna get back to where we are now. And now I see.
yep,
Pretty clever, pretty clever.
pretty
Um,
clever.
so yeah. And sorry, moving on.
Indeed. We end up going to the Judgment Day's clubhouse where Dominic Mysterio is worried about Bianca Belair and Naomi seeking revenge on Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez because there was footage shown on SmackDown that implied that they had something to do with Jade Cargill getting smashed into a car. Sorry, her new name is Jade Car Ornament.
Oh my god, I almost choked.
She might have.
Ah,
And then Liv says that the only revenge they should worry about is the Judgment Day taking the women's tag team titles.
oh
And
wait, Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill, that's perfect. Oh, that's so good. I'm just
Oh,
saying, if Superman has a weakness to kryptonite, her weakness is a Corolla.
oh my goodness. Oh my no. Not the Corolla.
And the very same. Like she's gonna be walking out on the street and there'll be a Toyota driving past her, be like,
She'll just start screaming.
yeah, like apparently she got sent to the same nether realm that Randy Orton did.
Oh my god, you're right. Both of them. Like she had just gotten there. That's what's killing me about this. Like I'm maybe she got injured or something in real life because guys, as much as we love wrestling, it's not our entire lives. Like we do not sit at home and try to like read the current events like 24/7. Uh, I very
I
seldom
do.
keep up with. I very seldom keep up with other like um I try to listen to other podcasts, but I don't keep up with them. I'm not like it's not like a daily thing for me. So if somebody like you guys already know what's going on with Jade Cargill, and you feel like in real life she's in having a surgery or something, or something's going. If you guys know, great, write it somewhere and let us know, because I don't.
No,
Enlighten
why?
me.
Why look up facts? This is the internet. Here, let me make up a controversy. Her and Randy Orton are out at the exact same time to cover up their illicit affair that has
Oh
been going on for
no.
months. That you heard it here first.
Oh no. No, you didn't. No, you didn't, guys. you
I done did.
you guys didn't hear that anywhere. Not here. Not here.
You
Uh
heard it here first. Is where you heard it. Right here. Randy Orton, Jade Cargill, from out of nowhere.
oh no.
Hey, maybe that's what happened. Like he RKO'd her through a car.
Oh yeah. What it's like Randy. Like what if there's like some found backstage footage of Randy backstage with a wig? Like like a long wig, and he like there's like somebody that just appears on camera and basically tackles her into the car, and then like that person turns around and it's Randy Orton in like a Chelsea green wig. And he's like kind of crouched down like Schmiegel or some shit, and he like looks up at the camera and he takes out running into the dark.
Oh Lord.
And they're like,
Oh,
why did he do it?
that's way more plausible than he's having an affair with her. Um No, watch it turn out to be somebody like I could have sworn it would have been like Lash Legend or something.
Yeah, and if it was Liv and Raquel, I mean, why not just come right out and say it?
Yeah,
Because that's kind of weird.
that's also
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's also the most boring answer. Like
It's
you
so
strung this
boring.
along for it to be the most obvious answer. If it were Liv and Raquel or Nia Jax, it's the most boring answer. It's interesting if it turns out to be like Bailey or Bianca herself or
I'm just
Naomi, or if from out of nowhere for bigger impact, the up and coming metaphor girls, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson.
yeah, because I'm just not understanding why, if it were Liv, Raquel, or Naya, why they wouldn't just come right out and say that they did it. They wouldn't have anything to fear. I mean,
Yeah, they wouldn't have a reason to hide that fact.
right? Like Naya, why would Naya be afraid? Naya has threatened them to their face, so I'm not sure why she would be afraid to say that she's the one who did it. Um, if it were Liv or Raquel, why would they be afraid to
Yeah,
say it?
they'd be bragging about it. You know what I mean?
They've
Yeah.
been caught backstage several times attacking other women. Liv is just freaking famous for it, man.
They've been caught backstage specifically attacking Bianca and Jade.
Right. They've gone after Rhea. So I'm not really sure. And Io, why would they
Yep.
now be like, I don't know, maybe we did it, maybe we didn't. Why? Why
Yeah,
why would that
and
be? I don't get it. And I kind of feel like that's what's going to happen. I kind of feel like they're going to be like, yeah, no, it was Raquel or something like that. But I'm thinking that's such a yawn that I'm hoping I'm wrong.
no, the most obvious ones that had something to gain would be Lash and Jakara. I really believe that because one, immediately following that, Lash Legend had an opportunity to fight for the Intercontinental Women's Championship, I think is the one that's over there, or the US Women's Championship.
Yeah.
And more pressingly, Jakara and Lash are a tag team. Attacking the champions is the best way to like speed pass your way to a title shot. So
Yeah.
it would make the most sense that it's one of them. But who knows? Yeah, I'm going to be really disappointed if it's as on its face as Liv and Raquel or Nia, because like you made the very valid point. Why would they hide it? They'd brag
Right.
about it.
They haven't hidden anything that they've done like that. So why would this be the one?
Yeah.
I mean, that just be real strange to me.
Yep.
and boring. It would be strange and boring. I would
It would
go,
be dull.
huh?
Yeah.
I would go,
Yeah.
huh? I'd roll my eyes and then move on to something else because that would
Well,
be probably
yeah.
the most boring that they could
It
do
would be an awful long build up for what amounts to wah wah, you
for
know?
nothing.
So
Yeah, like that's the saddest Edge job ever. You know, it's like
we don't talk about Edge when we're doing WWE. That's a sore subject.
not on this
Uh,
day.
eh,
Uh,
I see it clearly.
everything is coming to life now. So
Well,
except for I don't. Yeah, I don't know. That would just be so like that would be like being Edge for like a week, and then like when the big moment like arrives, you something happens where you muck it up. Like it's just like you ruin it yourself. That would just be that's like wah wah.
yep, no
That'd be
bueno
lame.
there.
Yeah, no bueno.
That would be really lame. That would be the
Don't
worst
give us
payoff
that Edge
for
jobs,
such a
please.
long. Yeah, yeah. Please don't.
Nobody wants
Um,
that.
Speaking of Edge jobs, Liv continues to talk about how impressed she is with Daddy Dom stepping
Ugh.
up for the group these past couple of weeks. And she knows he's going to pin AJ Styles, and I'm like, sure
Ugh.
he is,
Yeah,
because
right.
he's such a strong, sexy man.
Ugh.
And
Ugh.
Dom laments that he wished Finn Balor would have a little more faith in him, and he wants him to consider adding a new member to Judgment Day. And Finn bops over like the little leprechaun of death he is, and says, "Oh,
Leprechaun of
we're
death.
so saying my name." And they're like, "Yeah, we were just talking about how we're gonna win all our matches, and the Judgment Day is all gonna have somebody going to Elimination Chamber." And Finn says, "Yeah, Liv's already in. I'm gonna win mine." And man, it'd be super embarrassing if Raquel Rodriguez were to lose to someone like Little Roxanne Perez. And then he
And
turns back to Dom and says, "Oh, and by the way, no new members." Like he just had to squash Dom's like entire reason for being right there. He's like, "Screw you."
yep. And Carlito continues to be useless. Um
He was funnier in that segment though, because like Raquel interacted with him. I thought it was funny where he went to step up to say something positive on her behalf, and she just put her hand on his head and he sat back down.
yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. That sounds pretty useless to me.
Yeah, but at least it was funny or useless than the typical.
No. Useless is
You didn't think
no.
so? Aw.
No. Actually I did. But I just don't like him. And I don't like him and I find you know what? Here it is. It's not that I don't like him. Um I
But you
am
don't like
kind
him?
of indifferent to him, and I don't see the point of Carlito when we are getting rid of other superstars. You get rid
Now
of
that's fair.
Sonya. Sonya's gone, and she had more of a purpose than he did or does. So I'm not really sure what keeps him there and gets her removed. I'm assuming matter of contract timing or something. I'm not sure. But whatever the case, he provides nothing and yet he remains. That's my only point. Like and hey,
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody else gets all kinds of amusement from Carlito standing around eating an apple. Maybe and maybe there are millions of people that feel the same way. But I'm not basing this on any favoritism. I'm not basing this on who I like more or less. I'm saying just generally speaking, what has he provided?
Well, I don't know. I don't without knowing the details of their contracts, I don't know. Maybe he's making like 50 cents a year. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you do it is kind of a valid point to make though when certain superstars are getting let go. And if you think those superstars are better or have more potential than like others, then it's like, well, why keep this one then? You know, so that
Yeah.
is kind of a valid point. But without more details, I can't really, get. I can't really dig into that outside of pure speculation.
Right.
But it's a fair point.
Mm. Which leads us into the first match of the night.
Oh
The
wait, wait,
little
wait. We can't
what?
skip over the recap of I Show Speed getting absolutely train wrecked by Braun Breaker that they showed.
Oh yeah, they did indeed show that. What they did, they talked about Aisha Speed, his response to like the days after uh that,
the the
and
headache that he had for like a week.
and guys, I would suggest that you guys go and have a look at that. Sorry, my cat thinks my computer is his table. Um, but I would suggest you guys go and take a look at his channel and just listen to his commentary or listen to his story about getting it from Ron Breaker. It's hilarious. He's hilarious. So yeah, So you guys don't have to. You don't have to get it from me to tell you to go look at him. But if you haven't, just listen to it. It's hilarious and
Yeah.
and very painful.
Yeah, Braun Breaker hit him hard. It was
Yeah.
ferocious.
I mean, I think Ron Breaker hit him the only way he knows how to hit another dude in the ring.
Yeah, yeah.
So he probably asked him several times, "Are you sure you you want to do this?" Like, oh, and boy, his head snapped back. My goodness,
Like his neck was a rubber band, his head snapped, like forward and back. I wouldn't be
really,
surprised if I Show Speed legit got whiplash from that hit.
yeah. But after that, uh, we had our first match of the night, which was AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio, with Pointless Carlito in the corner, being pointless. And I mean, I don't think anyone hearing this is going to be surprised to know that AJ Styles beat Dominic Mysterio. Mysteria. I'm sorry. According to
Mysteria, yeah. According to
yeah,
Michael Cole, there's like a
it's
soft A on the end of Mysteria.
yeah, his name is Mysteria now. Um boy, that dude. Michael Cole needs a nap. He needs like a month-long nap. And when he comes back, somebody will just hand him a book about his life, let him let him reset, remember some shit, and then just get back on commentary. But you need to take that month-long sleep, my friend. Month-long sleep, and then like about a week or 2 weeks of just mental recap. But this match, although not surprising, as far as the winner is concerned, still good. Um, Styles being 47, 48, nebulously in that area. I think he's 47. I even think they said it on commentary. But uh AJ Styles his problem has never been in the ring. His or the problem as far as I see it, like why I'm not so gung ho about AJ Styles, and I don't dislike AJ at all. The dude can go. He has always been able to go in the ring, so it was no surprise uh, that whilst in the ring with one Dominic Mysterio, he handed him said ass. Um, Dominic Mysterio, I think Dominic kind of gets a. He's well underrated, but that kind of
Yeah.
happens whenever you become that type of heel, the type of heel that he is. They kind of I don't know how to explain it. Um, or I'm sure you understand what I'm saying, but
I do. Mysterio is
whenever
actually pretty solid in the ring, but his whole character is that he's like a little sleazy rat heel.
right, so they kind of utilize him now the same way that they did Eddie Guerrero for a while. Um, so he's not getting the biggest push when it comes to like being a champion or winning any matches. Like it's just kind of we're gonna put him in there. It's fun to have the audience boo him to death. And it's I don't know. I think he right now he's kind of in a niche, and I'm pretty sure he's okay with it. If he's not, I'm pretty sure he can get out of it. But or he can figure out how to get out of it. But uh, he's just in that little. He's in his boo era right now, and but I think he's taking it all in stride. I think he's having a good old time and cutting himself a nice check while doing so. And when he's ready to do something else, hopefully, WWE will allow him to do so without much argument with what he wants to do. But all in all, in my opinion, I thought this was a really good opening match. AJ Styles once again looks good. He always looks good in the ring. Always. It's always been his on mic work. It's always been his stuff
It's the
backstage or his
personality. Yeah.
personality thing where it's just not enough there for me. For me, if anybody else is into it,
Yeah.
2 thumbs up. I would not hate on you because AJ Styles is the phenomenal one. He is. And now he's ageless for crying out loud.
Yeah.
he
At
went
47,
somewhere.
he's the most jacked he's ever been in his whole career.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. So yeah, ain't hating. It was a
No.
good match. What say
Um,
you?
just kind of recapping a little bit, it's a surprisingly decent back and forth match. I mean, Styles maintained control for a good portion of it, but it wasn't because Mysterio wasn't doing anything. Mysterio was countering, Mysterio was getting in his offense. It's just Styles always had like the one up until Carlito started to interfere. And that was where Mysterio would get breaks to, kind of take control of the match. But ultimately, despite the shenanigans of these two members of the Judgment Day, the veteran AJ Styles picks up the win, and in good fashion. After he blasts Carlito off of the ring apron for trying to interfere one more time, he ends up connecting with a pop-up Styles clash that looked really fantastic. And then immediately after the match, AJ is celebrating, and Braun Breaker slides into the ring and it wants to hit him with like a sucker spear.
Yeah,
But AJ turns around, and in the current positioning, it was AJ near the middle of the ring, Dominic Mysterio kind of getting back to his feet from losing, and behind AJ Styles is Braun Breaker, and it set it up perfectly for AJ to turn around just in time to dodge out of the way, and for Dominic Mysterio to end up eating a full force spear from Braun Breaker. After which AJ Styles takes it to Braun and throws him out of the ring.
yeah.
So
Ron was mad. He rips his shirt off, but he throws the shirt, but he's intending to throw the shirt at AJ to hit AJ, and AJ just caught it. You remember that time? Remember that time that
Brock Lesnar threw the mic at
yes,
Roman, and
and
Roman
Roman
just
Reigns
sort of
and
turned his palm up and caught it like a boss.
yeah, just caught it and winked at him. Remember that time? And I'm
Yep.
pretty sure women and men all across the globe melted in their seats when he did. That's me
Yeah,
being polite.
this was what happened with AJ catching Braun's attempt to throw a shirt at him. It was just and?
Yeah, he just caught his shirt, and then they show Braun's face, and he's just like, "Rah!"
He was so upset about it. But this was good. I mean, not
Yeah.
only is it just hilarious to see Dominic Mysterio eat a full-blown spear, he's a casualty to this interaction with the adults talking.
Yeah,
And it sets up some decent heat for Braun Breaker and AJ Styles, which is good. I mean, AJ just came back, and it looks like they've repackaged him again. He's back to old AJ Styles. You remember how at the end of his last run they were trying to make him a heel,
yeah,
and it looked like him and the OC might do a thing, but now the OC is on to their future endeavors, and AJ's back as just the same as he was. No new music, back to the blue, not the black, and so he's back to being the face that runs the place on SmackDown. And immediately, Braun Breaker is looking to feud with him, which is good because, I mean, Braun Breaker is a pretty hot commodity right now. And so, as backwards as it sounds, the phenomenal one's actually getting a rub by the hot new talent, Braun Breaker, because Braun taking an interest in him immediately ups Styles' relevance. No offense, but I
Yeah.
mean, he sort of when he returned at the Rumble, it wasn't to like thunderous applause or anything. Like so, Styles has to like re-impact again, and I
Yeah.
think this will help.
Yeah, I agree.
But after that fantastic little match, we find out that Julius Creed has joined Team Daniel Cormier as a coach for the next season of UFC's Ultimate Fighter. And that leads to them cutting to the back where Ivy Nile is talking to both of the Creeds, and she's saying, you know, yeah, you hit, you know, the War Raiders with their belts, and that was cool and all, but we promised Master Gable that we'd have gold. And I think they turned it around saying, well, that's okay. They'll get theirs eventually. And Ivy has an opportunity to go get hers when she takes care of Dakota Kai. And that's when Dakota happens to be walking past, because of course it is. And Ivy then goes on to say she's going to end Dakota Kai's little Cinderella story. And Kai says, what, I think it was something like
Look here, the
whippersnapper.
whippersnapper.
She said, look here, whippersnapper.
No,
Tougher women
look
than you have
here,
tried.
you little whippersnapper.
You
Uh,
little whippersnapper.
don't forget the you little.
She goes on to say that tougher women than her have tried and failed to beat her. Um, and that Dakota's going to earn that rematch from, the finals of the women's U.S. title between her and Lyra Valkyrie tonight. And that quite smoothly brings us into the second match of the night, which was Dakota Kai versus Ivy Nile in a number one contenders match for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. Okay, so it's the Intercontinental Championship. I've been saying the U.S. Championship. I correct myself now. Intercontinental, because we're on Raw, of course. And this match takes place with Lyra Valkyria sitting at ringside to watch the match. And what did you think of this match?
Um, I have a hard time whenever and it's there's nothing I don't think there's anything that can be done for it. But and I'm starting with the negative first because there's more positive than there is negative. But I have a hard time being sold a match like this whenever there is a woman who is physically, you can see, physically stronger than her opponent. It's hard for me to believe the sales that physically stronger woman is giving. Even if she's good or not at selling it, it's still harder for me to believe it. So whenever I see Dakota doing a move that stuns or knocks Ivy back, whenever I see her doing a move like where she's slamming, quote unquote, Ivy to the mat and Ivy's like stunned or dazed, I don't know. All her punches or strikes, I'm having a hard time believing that you're literally giving this chick the business. Like I honestly, like for me, hard to get into. With that being said, I think both women, I think they work well together. I think they looked good together, surprisingly better than I thought they would. And Dakota is she's such a skinny person to me. She just looks skinny. She may not be. It maybe that's just how she comes off on film. But to me, she looks just like extremely thin. So any of her moves, like it's just hard for me to believe that she's selling something that's gonna hurt somebody or stun somebody. But I'm always impressed when she picks somebody up or whenever she does a move that knocks them on their ass. I'm always impressed with that. So surprisingly better than I thought it was going to be. Was it the match of the night? No, but I think her and Ivy work well together. I don't know if it's just because Ivy works well with other people in general, or Dakota, or vice versa, or maybe both of them. But I think I think they did pretty good. I was still, just looking at the wrestlers individually, it was still hard for me to believe that Dakota pulled off a victory. But just going by the storyline, of course she did. Or just going by the fact that she's the face, and WWE has a really bad problem with um just on average having heels lose matches. Not necessarily championship matches or matches during like PLE events or anything like that, or PLEs, but like on your general Monday and Friday shows, yeah, 9 times out of 10, the heel is going to lose unless the heel cheats, and then the heel's going to win. Like, if it's going to move the storyline in a way that upsets the fans and gets the fans going, boo, that's bullshit, then they'll probably do it. But most of the time, uh, qualifying matches, anything like this, unless the heel does something a heel like, they won't win the match. So basically, they like to tell a story that the heels can't necessarily beat the faces unless they cheat, even though we all know that ain't the truth. I said all that to say that, but still, it was a good match between the two. Dakota looked better than I give Dakota credit for most of the time. So I feel like Dakota's really fighting to keep her spot, to keep her place, to keep her job or whatever. And it's noted, it's noticeable, and I don't know, we'll see what happens. I'm hopeful that maybe she gets to stick around and gets to show us what she can do. But she's gonna have to really claim her spot.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I fully agree with your point about like the physical mismatches.
Yeah.
Sometimes WWE can. What do I want to say here? When the physical mismatch is so great, and I know Ivy Nile isn't the tallest wrestler, but she's one of the most jacked, male or female.
Yeah.
Like she is ripped, and with that much muscle mass, again, I refer to the fact that Brock Lesnar won in the UFC the heavyweight belt the first time in his third match through sheer raw physical power. Physical power is a huge factor. I know we hear a lot about like, well, skill though. And it's like, yes, but your skill has to be like S tier to compete with somebody whose physicality is that much greater. Like you have to play a perfect match, or all they have to do is get you once and you're dead.
Yeah.
So being physically imposing is a huge advantage. A huge advantage. Way bigger than anybody is trying to account for. And when you give me someone like Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile, where like Ivy Nile's arms are almost as big around as Dakota's entire body,
Yeah.
you are going to have to do a phenomenal job of selling me on how she's going to pull this off without just getting destroyed by this person. And it's shit like that when it's this much of a mismatch that reminds me that this only happens in a sport where it's scripted. Because 100 times out of 100, if these two women were really scrapping, Ivy kills Dakota every time.
Yeah.
Every time, without question. It wouldn't even be close. Because she's so much more muscle than her.
Yeah.
So there is an issue there, and sometimes they can do well with it. Like I was thinking, like remember when we just recently watched Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu, and I'm like, look, I like Jacob Fatu, but how are you going to make me believe he can deal with the powerhouse that is Braun Strowman? And they found a way. Like he threw 8,000 of those hip checks until it looked like Braun Strowman was realistically going to actually be fucked up and concussed.
Yeah.
Like that's a good job that's an example of them doing well to make me believe that this much smaller man just destroyed this bigger guy because he got him and he kept getting him until they came and broke up they're like, you're going to kill him. Stop. They didn't do any of that here. Dakota Kai just managed to somehow out wrestle Ivy Nile, and it it beggars belief. Unfortunately, my willing suspension of disbelief was challenged here, and that's a rough thing when we all know that this is a scripted combat. Um, that said, it wasn't a bad match. It was a physical mismatch of epic proportion that was not counterbalanced by anything. Like they didn't even run Ivy like into the turnbuckle post like 84 times or something, which is usually how they'll deal with the bigger person, getting kind of cut down to size. Is you let the floor of the ring post do the work. Or they do something like, they're charging at them and the person gets out the way, so they eat the entire corner of the announce desk or something. Something that levels the playing field. None of that was done here, so I'm with you. I really thought like there's no way Niall should lose this match, and yet she did.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because I was far more interested in a match between Ivy Nile and Lyra Valkyrie, who Valkyria has obviously been spending some time in the gym. She's starting to get bigger and more jacked too.
Yeah.
And so physically, height and mass, these two pair up better. But I think they are giving Dakota Kai kind of a one final stab because unfortunately, Dakota Kai can't seem to get out the blocks in most cases because she's injured every other time she wrestles.
Yeah.
Like, it was only a couple weeks ago that it was like, well, she's concussed. And it's like, oh, good God. Dakota Kai can't stay healthy enough to do anything. That said, without dwelling too much on the negatives, Dakota Kai did throw a very nice-looking go-to kick. And I think you said when we saw it, you think the go to kick looks better even than the go to sleep.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and I'm not dogging the GTS at all. But for me, her
I
go
will.
to kick
It's lame, like CM Punk.
I mean, I think her go to kick looks a bit more intense. It looks a bit more like ouch.
It looks a bit more impactful, I think, because she throws the opponent up and then like jumps backwards almost like she's doing a Pele kick to him on the way down. And to me that looks like it might hit harder. I mean, in general, the go to where the fuck ever types of moves I think are relatively weird, but that one's one of the least weird. Like, I'm like, if you've got somebody up in a fireman's carry, there's so much more stuff that I think is cooler than dropping them back down to just hit them with your knee or kick them. But comparing apples to apples, I agree. I think the go to kick is better than the go to sleep.
Yeah. I would look. I'd put somebody up on my shoulders like I'm doing the F5, like I'm getting ready to do the F5, and throw them in that way, but then somehow swing around with the other arm and give them a clothesline. I call that to go to hell.
To go to hell.
That would be like a
yeah. If I had someone up on my shoulders like that and I was going to do something to them that was like an F5, I would just do an F5. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a better move than what's being proposed.
No, I know. No, mine sounds better. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that. All right, moving on. We have after that we had Gunther, and he's in the audience, and I'm pretty sure people enjoyed that. I'm pretty sure they enjoyed the smell of Vienna sausages and shoes with no socks.
Oh God, why does he not wear socks with those loafers?
I'm sick of it.
Freaking savage.
Sick of it. Maybe I'm behind the times. Maybe the youngin' folk. Maybe they like to walk around like a bunch of hippies with no socks. But I'm gonna tell you right now. Listen, young man, young ladies, you wear your dang on socks when you're wearing loafers, man.
I mean, he's the world champ, so I guess he's got the finances to replace those loafers like every other day because
maybe
wearing your shoes with no socks is the best way to ruin a pair of shoes. So
maybe he does, but the thing that bothers me is he don't. So I don't know how many times I have to tell Gunther to wear socks. He just does not listen to me. Gunther, I'm sick of your savagery. While you are here, you wear some dang on socks. Socks, man.
Unless he's got like a preference for smelling cheese feet like the entire time he's performing.
Cheese feet. Burp. Well, he walks down the aisles and he insults the audience in his Gunther way. Call them stupid and dogs, and performing for them is like reading Shakespeare to a dog, which I thought was funny because I'm like, well, you're a wrestler. Nothing you do is Shakespeare related. Secondly, you have to perform for them anyway. Like, nobody asked you to come out and talk. God, nobody wanted that, Gunther. Nobody. Nobody wanted you to come out there in your fucking sockless loafers, you hippie.
Yeah,
nobody
you
wants
can
that
call
either.
everybody else stupid, but they know how to wear socks with shoes, you monkey. Oh no.
So he comes out and he goes, oh, and he also has this weird thing about people lacing his boots. Like, I don't know what that's about, but my man has a really big like boot lacing fetish that he needs to get looked at.
I get it now. I get it. The reason why no one is fit to lace up his boots is because he's got that cheese foot smell on extra, so nobody wants to.
They're all like, no,
do you
tying
think
his
Gunter
shoes
doesn't
is
wear
like
socks under his wrestling boots? Because that would just be monstrous.
It'd be like fighting somebody who smells like hot dog water. How dare you, good sir? How dare you?
It's the peak of European elegance, I guess.
It's like opening up a can of peas. I hate it. I hate everything about this imagery, and I don't like it anymore. Thank you, Gunther. Thank you very much for ruining my mental health today with your stinky cheese feet. So anyway,
cheese feet.
He continues to cut his promo, I guess, about people being stupid and him being good, and no one being as good as him. And he has people have excuse me, Nozich had have Jay believing that he can beat him at WrestleMania, and he's very upset about that. So then he started asking the audience, and he's like, you guys don't know nothing. And so then he's like, let me ask you two, and he gestures to one Pat McAfee and that other guy, Michael Cole, and he wants to hear what they have to say. And Michael's like, be careful, Pat, be careful there. And essentially, Pat repeats the question and then goes, yeah, I hope it can beat you at WrestleMania. And I guess Gunther didn't like that, so he starts taking off his jacket. I'm like, what? Or his blazer, that's better than taking off his shoes, I guess.
For everyone involved, that's better.
Yeah, for everyone involved. He could just kill so many people with his feet. But he's upset about that, and then Jay's music cuts on, and he's being restrained, quote unquote restrained, by like three backstage faceless.
Yeah, like 2 security guys and a female ref.
Yeah, and they're all like, nah, and he's like,
yeah, because security being called was necessary for Jey Uso, not Gunther threatening the announce team. Forget them guys; they're lame.
Yeah, but Jay wanting to come out, of course. I don't know why they do that. They always do this thing where they try to wrangle the face more than the heel. I'm not I'm not sure what that's about, but of course we had WWE's famous brawl non-brawl uh match between Jay and Gunther where it looks like they're about to fight, it looks like they're about to get together, and then security gets in the way or Gunther runs out the way. Like basically start and stops. We got a lot of that. A lot of swinging, a lot of hitting, a lot of, lots of bodies getting in the way between them and the audience. It's like, let them fight, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And I'm here for it. I am here for it.
I do think Jay got the better of it though in that one, in
He
this
did,
particular
yeah.
exchange,
Yeah.
because I think he managed to land like a pretty nice looking, effectively stinger splash on him, and that sent Gunter to the floor, and it was good.
Yeah. I think he did get the one up on this one, and I'm pretty sure that won't be the case every time until we get to WrestleMania. I think they
No.
might, if Jay is going to win, and I think Jay is going to win this year. Like I've told you several times, off mic, off camera, whatever, that I think 2025 is going to be Jay Uso's year. I mean, he's just huge. He is huge.
Yeah.
Just looking out in the audience Monday night, everybody was wearing a Yeet shirt. Like
Oh
it
yeah.
was everywhere. So
Everywhere.
him and Penta are huge this year.
Yeah,
And
they're on fire.
I'm gonna say Jay more than Penta because Penta just showed up. But Jay Uso is like, I don't even know.
Jay
I'll
Uso
put it
is
this way. I'll put it this way. If Vince was still in charge, he would have been squashed by now. Because
yeah.
that's how big he is. He's way too big. Uh,
I would go so far as to say that Jay Uso is probably the biggest or one of the biggest in mainstream wrestling right now. Like,
I'm gonna
there
say
is
he is.
no intro that I can think of, not even Joe Hendry, um, that is bigger than Jay coming out and doing the yeet dance. In fact, at the end of this brawl, he took the time to yeet with the audience because, I mean, that's why half of them bought a ticket. You know what I mean?
Because
Like,
yeah,
he is moving the merchandise, he is selling the tickets. People come there just to do the yeet.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like he's huge. So, that little segment there with him and Gunther was good. I look forward to seeing this match, and I honestly believe that it's going to be Jey Uso's year. What that means, I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but I am positive that he is going to end this year with the belt, at least one.
I think so. I think that's the whole point of setting this up between him and Gunter. It's going to be like one of the WrestleMania main events is going to be Yeet versus Cheese Feet.
Yeet and cheese feet, yes.
And we know Yeet beats Cheese Feet.
We know. You got the fanning right there. Like you fan the cheese feet away. Um
Yeah, that's
after
true.
yeah, it's true. Uh After all of that, we get Kathy Kelly. She's backstage and she's having an interview with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And basically she was asking them about the footage where they're seen just walking around. Uh I think they're like, I don't even know, just because they were out there is basically why Bianca and Cakes think that they're guilty.
Yeah, it's a
So
very thin connection, to be perfectly honest, which makes me think that it's not going to be the connection. Because, I mean, as you pointed out, there's no reason for them to ever deny it. And this doesn't show them doing anything but being in the parking lot at the same time that the ambulance was.
yeah,
And, I mean, so
and I
I,
honestly think it. I think the person who is guilty is the person who filmed those two, because remember, he
oh, that's a
doesn't
good point.
know. Unstable. What's the unstable manager's name?
The
Pierce.
unstable? Oh,
Unstable
yeah,
Pierce.
yeah, yeah.
Unstable as Pierce doesn't know who, like he doesn't know even know who sent him the video. He doesn't know who recorded it, so he
Well,
doesn't know where it came from.
Pierce knows that the video came to him by way of Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis doesn't know who sent it to him.
Right. Either way it goes, neither one of them don't know nothing about nothing. So
Yep.
I'm thinking it's probably the person who filmed that, because I mean it's just kind of weird to just say, "Oh, look, they were there outside where the ambulance was." I mean, I'm pretty sure there were lots of other, you know what I mean, like other superstars out there. Like Bailey could have
Yeah,
been out there. Like just because somebody's
they could have
outside,
been
I
out
mean
there
they're guilty.
taking a smoke break or something. You know what I mean?
Right. And there you are putting them on blast. But we shall see. The plot thickens. I just know that if it does turn out to be them, lame.
Yeah,
Lame.
I think this is meant to be a red herring. At least I hope so, because
Yeah.
as you're pointing out, it would be lame if it's just this straightforward, and it would make little sense because Liv would have bragged forever about taking
Yeah.
out Jade Cargill like that.
Forever.
And
Somebody
and
like Jade?
same with Nia Jax. Nia Jax would have been like, "Yeah, I did it. I'm glad I did it. I'd do it again."
Yeah.
So it makes no sense that any of the heels would do it on the sly, because why? They would just boast about having taken out your tag team partner, nani nani boo boo, what you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
But right now I think Liv and Raquel are fine with it because it just means that the tag champions are coming to them.
Yeah, and I think that's what they were hoping for, but I don't think that they're the ones that are uh guilty of pushing Jade
No.
Jade Cargill.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I really do hope. Honestly, the more I think about it, the best people that could have been responsible for it, or the best person responsible for it, has got to be Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, because that will be a hell of a way to introduce them to the roster proper and to put the tag team champions like hot on their heels.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, you ain't wrong.
Well, and I mean it's a great matchup. I mean people would really like to see like probably Lash Legend versus Jade, these two massive women, because Lash is just gargantuan and Jade is jacked.
Yeah. Huh? We shall see.
Well, that's
Uh,
my prediction, is at least my hopeful prediction, right? Like I don't have any insight or I don't have anybody from Wrestling Insider telling me anything. I just have like, who do I think would be the best storyline, and I honestly think it's going to be Lash Legend. Like I think her being the one that did that to Jade will definitely make the biggest impact for the Metaphor girls as they're coming onto the main roster.
yeah. Yeah. It'd be interesting.
I think so. Speaking of interesting, that leads us to the third match, which is Penta El Cielo Miedo versus Petey Dunne.
Mm.
Man, I love Penta. I just don't love Penta wrestling like Pete Dunne, because it's Pete Dunne.
Yeah. I'm not a
I
huge
mean,
Pete Dunne fan. I
scraping
will
the
say
bottom, man.
I will say that this match was better than I expected it to be, maybe more so because of Penta and less because of Pete Dunne. Um
Yeah,
I'm just on board for Penta. Huge fan. Uh Penta's probably one of the few wrestlers that I have gone back and looked at like some of their stuff before they were with AEW, before they were with other
yeah, his
gone
Lucha Underground stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
gone
yeah.
further than that and like looked at a lot of his matches. Um Penta works very well with a lot of competitors. Um and he does a great job of looking dumb. Like the guy, he's the total package there. Get him on the mic. He's interesting to listen to. Um so I am excited to see where he goes in WWE. I hope
Yeah.
he I hope he makes it very big, because yeah. And this match Nobody ever lets him do his zero metal anymore. Nobody lets him do that anymore. It angers me.
Well, at
Um,
least at the beginning, right? The taunt where he would put it right in their face. Yeah,
yeah,
everybody, like the new standard is to interrupt that instead of letting it happen. I agree with you. It's unfortunate.
yeah, and I mean, I get it, but anyway, uh, but this match was fun. It was good. I knew that I was gonna get a lot of quote unquote finger manipulation from Pete, but from Pete snore. But Penta still made this more interesting. I can talk good things about Penta all day long. I don't have much to say about Pete Dunne. He's just not one of my favorites.
No,
His set isn't that
his moveset,
great. Like
yeah,
his moveset isn't that like memorable. It's not something that I'd want to mimic in any fashion. Like it's just
no. The finger manipulation and like 50 enzuigiris is just pretty boring.
yeah.
And as a character, he's all over the place. He's not an attractive man by anyone's estimation. He looks like he's wearing like a 1950s bathing suit and comes out with like a fur like Loa or some shit around
Yeah,
his neck.
yeah,
His look is all over the place. His character is basically non-existent. He's just angry and doesn't say anything. His move set is terrible. I will point out one exception in this particular match. He countered when Penta was up on the middle ropes into this like running Liger bomb that was like the coolest thing I've ever seen Pete Dunne do, which it stands out because most of the time what he's doing is something lame. Um, but that was it. Like that was the only thing Pete Dunne did that I can even think of that was noteworthy. There was also a missed opportunity with all the finger manipulation that Pete Dunne does. There could have been an opportunity where he pulls off the glove and Penta's sitting there screaming while his hand is being held up, being manipulated, only for him to turn it into Zero Miedo, like as a counter.
yeah,
They totally didn't. They missed the opportunity for him to counter out of the finger manipulation with a Zero Miedo taunt, and I'm so chuffed about it. Like it would have been so good.
yeah, yeah. That would have
But
been pretty.
the the
It
only
would
thing that
slap.
made the only thing that made that match worth watching was the fact that Penta was in it at all. I mean, that was it. Um, and that's really all I've got. I mean, he ends up hitting. I want to say he hits the Mexican Destroyer, and instead of doing the oh, I forget what the fancy name is for it, but his arm breaker move, he goes straight into the Penta driver, and the Penta driver looked cool.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, Penta has a relatively large arsenal of moves that he could be doing, including the Fear Factor, which is still kind of like it's not a regular move yet. I tend to think like WWE is moving back towards pile drivers. At least I'm hoping so. So at some point, maybe the Fear Factor could reappear. But the Penta driver is definitely no slouch of a finish. It's very good, and he hits it. And then Ludwig Kaiser, who was out there, comes into the ring and starts attacking Penta, but he's pulled out by Pete Dunne because Pete's upset that Ludwig is interfering in his match, and they start kind of brawling on the outside, and Penta does a somersault plancha to both of them, leaving him the one standing tall as the other two are on the ground, with Penta winning that match. Again, he was the only part of that match that was worth anything, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
The only
trying to
good
be.
thing, sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
The only good thing I can say about Penta's booking thus far, I mean, Chad Gable was fantastic. There's, like, without a doubt, Chad Gable was a fantastic first match. But, I mean, Ludwig and Pete Dunne are just kind of wasting Penta's time getting started. So the only positive I can say about how he's been booked so far is that he can really kind of only go up from here.
Yeah, true. True. I mean, yeah, it was good, but it was good mainly, like you said, because of Penta. Um, but while we're on the topic of things that are good, Kat Kelly had a backstage interview with Jey Uso,
Yeet.
and she was asking him how he felt. Where he replied that he felt completely underestimated.
Yeet.
Uh, yes, yeet. Um, and he addresses the camera. Uh, where he says that they're doubting him.
Yeet.
Jay can't beat him.
Yeet.
But he's the man standing right in front of you as the Royal Rumble winner.
Yeet.
Uh, and he's going to shock the world again at WrestleMania. Yeet.
Uh-uh. Yeet.
Yeet. Yeet.
Yeet.
And then after that, we had Pat McAfee recapping Bailey's performance in the NWA Celebrity All Star Game.
The NWA.
Uh, I'm sorry, NBA. I said NWA.
I was like, man, they've been broken up for a while. I don't think they lasted much after Easy
Ah,
E.
yes, the NBA, which was amusing because Bailey was adorable.
That's kind of true.
Um, After that, we had a Roxanne Perez vignette. Uh, and
It
then a
was pretty.
War
Her
Raiders
vignette.
promo. Like there was a lot
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
Monday night. But yeah, her vignette was pretty good.
Yeah. She
Um
talked some really credible shit. It was good.
yeah. I understand now that she is the prodigy. Um and then after that, the War Raiders had a promo where they, even though they won the match between the Creed brothers, I'm not sure that they
Yeah.
feel like they won the match or something. I'm not really sure.
Because they got left laying, right? Because the
Yeah,
Creed brothers laid both of them out with their own title belts.
yeah,
But yeah, it
yeah,
was kind of weird. Like you won the match, but you didn't win the war, I guess would be the takeaway. And I guess the War Raiders were like, but next time it's gonna be war. And I was like, well, what was it this last time? Like
yeah.
you weren't bringing the war then, I guess? I don't.
Was it just a match then? Is that?
Yeah. But either way, I'm here for it because the War Raiders and the Creeds, like we really got impressed with the Viking Raiders when they were the Viking Raiders back when they were on NXT, and it was through a series of matches they had with the Creed brothers. So we
Yeah,
know that these two teams can put on some legendarily insane matches. So I'm hoping that we get that out of them.
yeah. That was the first time, and or the first time that we saw the Viking Raiders as they were, or the War Raiders was, yeah, NXT, and they like against the Creed brothers, and it was one hell of a match. I think the very first time we tuned into NXT after years was they had a match, those two tag teams, and we were like,
Yep.
what?
And I had seen the Viking Raiders before, but I was like, oh, okay, they're over here on NXT. All
Yeah,
right, and we didn't know much about the Creed brothers because at that time they were with the, like Roddy Strong and the Diamond Mine. So we were like, who are these dudes? And we were blown away by how the Creeds and the Raiders fought one another. It was the best matches I think on NXT.
yeah, yeah. Agreed. It was phenomenal. Um,
Like AJ Styles.
yes. Uh, so yeah. What was the fourth match? Was that is that? Did we just go right into Roxanne Perez
Yeah, I think that was immediately
versus
following the
Raquel?
Raiders. Yep.
They had
Roxy
their promo.
Perez and Raquel Rodriguez.
Now,
Uh,
I'll be
I'm
real
trying to
short with
remember.
mine. Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember if Raquel got any kind of little promo beforehand. I don't think so. Although
Mm-mm.
we did notice on the intros because they sort of preempted Roxy's intro by showing you her intro from 2K25, and then they faded to like her standing on the corner, and we were like, "Wow, those graphics are great," because we were joking because it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, they're so realistic." Um, but Raquel Rodriguez, like she debuted a new intro, and her music and her look and everything is really good. Like we were both commenting on that and thought,
Yeah.
"Wow, that's kind of nice."
Yeah, no,
So
I was picking up on Raquel's vibe from the moment she was on camera this night. Like she stood out and she did a great job in the role that was given to her. I think she understands her part now and she's there. Um and
yeah,
it's
I feel like the ring rust has come off of Rodriguez, and she's starting to really shine up.
yeah. Which leads us into that very topic. The fourth match of the night was Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. And how did you feel? And I'll be brief. I'll be brief and say that I felt pretty good about the match. I looked mostly at Raquel. She was the person that I was noticing the most because that's the person that I'm going to be that I was planning to scrutinize. I've seen Roxanne, and Roxanne is good. Roxanne is NXT good. Um, would I say that Roxanne is WWE Women's Division good? I don't know. I know she's the most decorated female in NXT. Good on her. She's great there. But I don't know. And so I was looking at mainly at whatever it was that Raquel Rodriguez was going to do. And what she did do was good. Now, what I need for her to stop doing is throwing people in the corner. Like I don't know why she's so against slamming chicks like directly to the mat, but like every one of her moves that involved tossing or throwing or slamming someone, she did so to the women in the corner.
I could
Um,
not agree more. I was yelling at the screen when she did the choke lift. And like,
yeah,
because when she first did it, she did it straight into like a choke bomb.
yeah,
And I was like, that's amazing. And ever since, she keeps lifting them up and then just tossing them in the corner. Like, and it's like, why? This is stupid.
yeah.
Just slam the shit out of these women, please.
So
Because, like, your whole selling point is that you're gargantuan. Yet it's like you're too timid that you're going to break these fragile little women. Don't be. That's what keeps you. That's what's separating you out from being in like Rhea's league or some of these other women that are, Bianca Belair's and all that. Like, slam the shit out of these women. Just slam
yeah,
them into the mat. Be
yeah,
the power wrestler. Be the Lady Kane that you can be.
please. And for whatever reason, she just won't do that. And now she's gone to, or she has gotten to this point where all she does is throw them into the corner. Like that'll ring you. Get over there. Kaya. Uh
Yeah.
and I'm not as impressed with that as I am with her just picking them up by their necks and eating them, slamming them onto the mat. That to me is much more
hmm
devastating than
More
you
dominant
doing.
for
You're
sure.
basically
Yeah.
you're basically just helping them stand up and then leaning them against something. Like you are now treating your opponent the way you would treat your best drunk friend. Just don't, man. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
But
I
other
I
than that,
think
go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think Raquel is struggling to not be quite such a bubbly, cheerful person in the ring. And I mean, I know that's a weird thing to say, but she's playing a heel character. And on top of that, she's trying to portray herself as a large, powerhouse, dominant wrestler. And none of those can be like, where it's obvious that you're looking after your opponent and it's obvious that you're smiling and happy to be there. Like, you have to act like you belong in that ring and you're the only one that does and throw everyone out of your yard. And I
Yeah,
think there's a killer instinct that she's just not evoking, that she needs to cross that bridge and then she'll be there. That's the promised land, is on whatever side she needs to get to become more dominant and more vicious in the ring.
yeah. Yeah, whatever drink she needs to drink, get it down so that we can get there, please.
Was there more that you wanted to speak to this match, or was that pretty much it?
No, that was it. That was it. Just
Oh,
the
okay.
last thing I said was, you know, wherever she needs to go, whatever
Yeah.
she needs to do mentally to prepare to become that person, please do so.
Yeah, because I see all the potential in Rodriguez. She's got the size. She can do the moves. I think this is a like I don't know if you would say it's an acting problem or the character she's trying to evoke, but it's a mental hurdle. I think she's too careful and too cheerful. Maybe I don't know if that's the right word, but she needs to be a little less of either of those things. Like you
Yeah.
can't treat the women that you're in the ring with like China dolls. So I mean,
Yeah.
clearly don't go out of your way to hurt them, but you're like overprotecting them to the degree that it shows to the audience. And
Yeah.
that's not good. So if you need to be a little rougher, then be a little rougher. Do something. I mean, this ain't, as the saying goes, this isn't ballet. Every one of those women should be able to bump. So bump them.
Yeah.
That said, I tend to agree with you. I was more watching to see Rodriguez's performance because Perez is a proven quantity in NXT anyway. I had no doubt that Roxy was going to do fine. The question mark for me would be looking at Raquel and seeing if she's improving since she's come back. And I know all of what I just said made it sound like I don't think she is. I think she is definitely improving. I'm speaking to the last little bits that I think need fixed because she
Yeah.
looks a whole lot better in this match than she did coming in. Like when she first got back, there was a lot of ring rust, very rough around the edges. She's getting more polished, and it's looking a lot better. I'm just pointing out some ways that I think you could finish it off to get Rodriguez up to that next level. Where if we were going to have a match between her and Rhea, I don't immediately know that Rhea is going to destroy you, and it's not compelling because of.
Yeah.
So make me believe is what I'm telling you to do. Um, the match on the whole was pretty okay. I feel like Rodriguez dominated most of it, as we kind of figured, she would. And the only reason I don't think this resulted in Rodriguez maybe catching a win is because there was interference. I want to say about 2/3 in, where Bianca and Naomi show up to kind of get their vengeance, so to speak, and they start beating Liv Morgan up outside the ring, which distracts Raquel and allows Roxy Perez to hit Pop Rocks out of the corner for a 1-2-3 real quick. And so for what it was a good enough match, but it was always going to be Roxy Perez squeaking by on a win because of the distraction from Bianca and Naomi.
Yeah.
And for what it was fine. It was credible. And it means that Roxanne Perez is going straight into a women's elimination chamber as I don't think she's been officially called up, has she? So it's like an
No, I don't think
NXT.
so.
It's an NXT star that got into the main roster's elimination chamber, which is pretty amazing. And that's on top of the fact that Roxanne Perez won the kind of Iron Woman in the Royal Rumble. So she's starting out with some accolades just right out the gate before she's even officially on the main roster, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
So that's impressive.
Yep.
And unfortunately, like the vengeance that Bianca and Naomi get really wasn't that much. Like, like they were attempting to I want to say like double KOD Liv, but Rodriguez got in the way, and then they kind of escaped. So it wasn't really that much revenge. And I find it interesting that Naomi and Bianca show up to deliver their vengeance wearing cheerleader outfits.
Yeah.
That was different. So that's how that went. I'm still curious as to who framed Roger Rabbit. I mean, who got Jade Cargill? But that was just kind of weird, right? Like if it, I think there's some tonal problems with the women in some certain respects. Like a lot of what I said about Raquel is tone. You know, like you need to be a badass. Like you need to
Yeah.
be an ass kicking badassery machine, not super smiley high fivey machine. You're a bad guy. Be bad.
Yeah.
And similarly, you know, we're worried about the fate of our friend Jade Cargill, so we're going to seek our vengeance wearing these cute little cheerleader outfits. It's like, come on, man. Get it together a bit. Come on. So, it was okay. The whole thing was okay. I think the biggest thing that came out of it was Roxy Perez being, you know, an NXT gal who is now going straight into the Elimination Chamber. Wow. Okay. You know, that's going to be one to watch, I think.
Yeah. I am in agreement. And I wish they had chose something a little bit more serious, I guess. I don't know. Like, I guess wear whatever you want, but it was still like, oh.
That's my revenge getting gear. I mean, if you ever see me in a little tiny skirt with pom poms, you know
And
somebody's
I'm like, oh,
getting it.
somebody's about to get the business.
It's about to go down. Call the
Right.
lawyers.
Oh no, not the cheerleading boots and skirt. Boots? What kind of cheerleader? I'm leaving. Goodbye, everyone.
Boot, skirt, and boogie. I don't know.
Goodbye, everyone. Just gonna log out of life. You know.
I know. Come back. We're not done.
Log out after.
Yeah, then log out.
Yeah, you want to, yeah.
After that win by Roxy Perez, and I'm not real surprised that Roxy won out of the two of them. But after that win, we go to Kathy Kelly, who is interviewing Seth freaking Rollins, who is wearing like the second coolest shades on SmackDown. I gotta say, like the first coolest is going to be the Yeet shades.
Oh,
but then
question.
Seth's were very like something the Macho Man might have worn. I mean, they were crazy.
They were pretty crazy.
Yeah, but she's asking. Sorry,
he
go ahead.
He literally looked like a fashion statement of Tickle Me Elmo.
Go Big Red.
He did. I was looking for the little string somebody pulls and he's like, or something, but I couldn't find it.
Tickle Me Rollins, I guess.
Where
that
sounds.
Yeah, I don't like where that's going. But Kathy Kelly then says to Seth, "Do you have any final words ahead of your chamber qualifying match with Finn Balor?" And he says, "Yeah, we're 10 weeks away from Mania. He can't go to Mania unless he goes through the Elimination Chamber, and he can't get into the chamber unless he goes through Finn Balor. So tonight on Monday Night Rollins, this is as big as it gets. And while Finn Balor needs this win, Seth needs it more." And then he goes on to say, "Well, I guess I'm out of words, which means it's time to fight." And then after that, after Seth takes off, there's an impromptu promo where Karrion and Scarlett show up. And Kathy Kelly's like, she looks all intimidated. Mainly because Scarlett gets right up on her and she's like,
yeah.
And Karrion goes on to say, "Sami Zayn, I know you're going to see this because you and I both know that you keep a close eye on your good friend Seth Rollins. I'm trying to understand this delirious mindset that you and all your friends seem to have. So let me get this straight. Jey Uso actually believes he's going to beat Gunter for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania." And he looks at the camera and he makes like incredulous face and shakes his head no. And then Seth thinks he's going to qualify for the Elimination Chamber, and then he's going to eliminate the Invisible Man, John Cena, and he makes incredulous face again and says no. And he's like, "You, Sammy, you actually believe that you stand a chance in beating Kevin Owens in the state that you're in? My God. The first two have lost their minds and there's no hope for them, but Sammy, I still believe deep down inside, you know there's always more time to turn things around." And if Karrion is trying to be Nostradamus here, and I say that actually liking what Karrion's doing, his predictions are going to have to get better. And I'll leave it at that. From there, we go to an Io Sky promo, and she actually cuts a really decent promo in English. And I have to give her all the credit in the world because there's several Japanese wrestlers that don't bother right now. Like I feel like Shinsuke has all but given up. Like he just cuts his in Japanese, but Io has actually been working on her English, and she cuts a really solid promo for her upcoming match with Rhea Ripley. And it was pretty cool. Like what she was saying was cool. Like the content was cool of her message, but she also had this like interesting sort of underwater thing going on. And it was just a really solid promo from Io Sky. Like she is proving more and more, and maybe people that have been longtime followers of Io Sky are like, yeah, dude, welcome to the club. But for me, I'm seeing how complete of a pro wrestler she really is. Like she gets it done in the ring. There have been a few times where, you know, there's been some flubs and a little bit of unsafe things, but for the most part, she does really good. And I think some of the unsafe stuff is because she's trying to go for something a little more. But the more I see of Io Sky, the more impressed with her I become. She's a really good professional wrestler, and the fact that she's cutting promos in a foreign language to her, and they're good promos, is just one more cherry on the sundae of Io Sky as an overall performer. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
And following that, we are brought to
New Day.
Ducks. And we get Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston in the ring. And for the first, 3 minutes, they're trying to get something started, and they can't because they're getting booed out of the damn arena. But then Kofi Kingston, I think, manages to break through because they're talking about, when they attacked Rey Mysterio, and everyone's like, boo, boo, extra boo. And Kofi says something akin to, you put Rey Mysterio on a pedestal. And as soon as he said that, we were watching it, and I said, yeah, that's so that we can see him. I'm sorry, it was too easy. It was the low-hanging fruit. Even Ray could reach it. Sorry. And he says, why? Because he's a Hall of Famer? Hey, guess what? I actually have more titles, more championships than Ray. And I've been here longer than Ray. And that's because technically you're right, but Ray left and came back. But yeah, he goes on to say, I've been here damn near 19 years. The difference between Ray and myself is that I never left.
Yeah.
So if anybody should be the locker room leader around here, it should be me, not him. Rey Mysterio
not until you can wear a shirt. Not until you can find your shirts, Kofi. I don't know what happened that you become a heel and now you can only find jackets. But I'm just gonna tell you that it looks ridiculous that you come out there. You are Gunther's feet. I just want you to know that. Like you're literally coming out here.
Oh no.
With no shirt, the way Gunther comes out with no socks. It's both are gross. Stop it. Put on a shirt.
Yeah, and
it's ridiculous. If you're cold, Kofi, because you're wearing a jacket, might I suggest, good sir, that you I don't know, wear a shirt?
Oh man, that makes entirely too much sense. Plus, you would think he would find a shirt to cover up the fact that he's missing the interior of his pecs. I mean, I guess he's loud and proud with that.
He's like, your city is gone, and here you are. Here you are just displaying that you have lost both inner titties.
Both. And they basically go on to say that, the whole crowd should be thanking them for not abusing Rey Mysterio more.
Lord,
and it's like, all we did was give him a couple weeks extra vacation time. And
I mean,
they go on to say how everybody should be thankful to the New Day. In fact, everybody should be getting down on their knees.
Oh,
and
Lord.
I was like, whoa, where is this going, Xavier? We're all not Saraya. We don't.
Oh, you didn't go there. You did not go there.
I done went.
Oh,
But
no.
immediately after Xavier starts saying that noise, the LWO come out. What's left of them, which is basically Dragon Lee and Guy 1 and 2. What I can't remember
Walking,
their names.
walk,
Yeah,
walk,
Joaquin,
walking, I don't know that other guy.
Marchin. I don't.
Walking and Lilu. I don't know those other two guys. One of them was wearing. I think it was Walking. I think Walking was wearing Dimitri's hat. Uh,
Not
and
Dimitri's hat.
yeah,
That
I
little
don't know
black
how.
flat brimmed
Yeah.
fedora looking hat. Yeah.
Hey, why you ever talking so negative about Dimitri's
No,
hat?
no, I was just specifying which hat and giving a description for anybody listening. It was a cool flat brimmed black hat. It looked good.
You didn't say cool at first. You didn't. You see if you had said that
Well,
word in front, then it would
sorry.
have been like
I was trying to be brief because you were talking. But yes, it was a very cool hat and it did remind me of Dimitri's hat. The
the
only thing that
thing.
was wrong with it was that it was on
Three.
the head of like Joaquin or Jim Bob, whichever one
Walking.
of them it was.
Yeah. So that Walking feller had on Dimitri's hat, and I was like, ugh. But thankfully, after they came out and talked some smack to Xavier and Kofi for beating up Rey Mysterio, and then coming out there talking about get well soon, which I thought was kind of funny. Xavier comes out, he's like, get well soon, Rey. And then Kofi goes, yeah, all he said was get well soon. What? Get well soon.
Well,
These
because
two
it
are
rings
so
just a
much.
hair hollow coming from the
There's
guys that hurt him.
I know, but it's so funny. It's like it's super hilarious. Like they're funny even as heels. Like they're always funny. Xavier is always funny. Kofi's always funny. I've always enjoyed their vibe. But the heel vibe from them is it feels almost like they're taking a vacation from having to be so cheery and goofy all the time. And they still I feel keep authentic to themselves. They have like anime type bad guy character drawings and whatnot. I love
Sure.
everything that's happening right now with the Boo Day. So yeah, they can
The
keep that
boo
going.
day.
Yeah.
They're fully boo day.
But we were talking about them. We were talking about LFO, right? LFO?
Uh,
No. LWO LFO.
LFI is La Faction Ingobernable,
No, I'm not
which
talking
is
about
close. It's close. The Fashion Gobernables is
I'm
not too
not
different
talking
than the
about
LWO.
I'm not talking about the factional like gobble gobbles. I was talking about I was, I was you broke the sound when you laughed.
The Fashion Gobernables.
You hit a note where the sound is like cannot comprehend.
Nope.
That was good stuff. But no, they come out and Dragon Lee's basically like, "Hey, what you guys did sucked. You guys suck, and we're gonna fuck you up." So then I was like, "Oh man, is he just gonna send the tag team in there? You know, Queen and Guy too? Like, are you just gonna send them in there?" But no, he went in there too, and I was like, "Yes." And you mentioned that was much more like old school, um like NWO, I think you said.
Yeah, an outnumbered kick beat down.
Yeah.
Just kick, 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 kick.
And I was like, yeah, that's good. And that's exactly what they got, and that made me happy. Uh so yeah.
Yeah. Then following that, they announced that Michael Cole will be the special guest on this week's episode of the Impulsive podcast. There you go. That's a freebie, Logan. On our podcast, we just promoted yours. Send us the check. And then they also announced that next.
Just a side note, Logan. Just a side note to Logan. Listen, people don't dislike you because you're good in the ring. You're actually Logan, real talk. I do not like you. However, you are, without question, probably one of my favoriteest wrestlers right now. You are so good in the ring. Like, no matter what anybody says to you, they are lying. If anybody tells you that you're mid in the ring, they are lying. They are so jelly. You are redunky in the ring. One of my favorites. Like natural. Like if we could
Yeah.
put money on wrestling games, and I would put money on Logan. And the only thing that's going to be
Mm.
holding Logan back is I guess fan favor, or
All of
how
his
how
extracurricular activities that have
right,
some
yeah,
shade to them.
right, how he's seen in the public eye, that could hold him back. But in the ring, ain't nobody. If they're mad at that, they are just jelly as fuck, because Logan Paul can go in the ring. That dude has done some stuff that I have not seen seasoned wrestlers do um fucking ever. So I mean, I would love to see Will Ospreay and Logan Paul have a match. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that would be amazing.
Uh, I mean, clearly Logan Paul has more to learn. But that said,
Yes, yeah, of
that
course.
said, there's a lot of people that talk about being a generational talent or a prodigy. Logan Paul actually lives up to some
That's
of that. Like this
yes,
dude, still, I don't think he's even yet had a number of matches that can fully take up counting on both hands, and he has like they're marquee every time. Like the
yeah,
dude is insane in the ring. Like
yes,
I really wish that we could just be impressed with Logan Paul without any of the other stuff that accompanies, his
yeah.
reputation, because he is without a doubt one of the most natural, like, take to it pro wrestlers ever
One
ever.
one of my favorites. Like seriously. And if you stay in the game, if you stay in this game, Logan, you will be one of the best to ever do it. No shit.
Yep. Yeah, yep.
If you stay here, no shit. Hall of Fame. Fuck what everybody says. Fuck what everybody says, bro. Fuck them. If you stay where you are and just keep giving us marquee after, if you just keep giving us like showstoppers every time you get in the ring, man,
Yep.
without question, you'll be one of the best to ever do it. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot more to learn, but you're already so good. Just imagine where you will be 5 years from now. Imagine where you'll be when you are AJ Styles' age. Imagine where you'll be then. Imagine how ridiculous. Imagine the things you would have done by then. Just stay the course. Fuck all the chatter. People are going to talk. I don't know what you're doing outside of the ring, and I'll be perfectly honest, don't give a fuck. You just stay, whenever you're in the ring, just do you. Do it well. You'll have no choice, right? And fuck all the noise, because I'm telling you, you're one of the best right now. One of the best in that ring, right? I would love to see you go against so many freaking people. It is what it is. And again, I'm saying that. I don't know how many times I can say it. Here, I do not like Logan Paul. I don't watch any of this shit. I don't engage with any of the dumb stuff I have seen him do online. But when he is in the ring, I don't know any of that. I'm not judging any of that. I'm judging his work in the ring. And in the ring, he, not being one of my favorite humans on the planet, is still one of my favorite wrestlers. I can separate all the bullshit from what I like, and that my man can go in the ring.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's fair to say that of Logan Paul. Like all other
Yeah,
things notwithstanding, the dude is incredible with his in
you
ring work.
like if you said anything else, you would be lying. That's my part. That would be cap. Stop acting like this dude ain't out here being a generational talent. Stop it. Don't act like that. Yeah, these are the same people
Yeah,
that want to. I'm not going to go down there. We're not going to go down that road. But people who want to just completely dismiss an entire individual, just everything, and like just dismiss all of his bodies of work, just completely dismiss the person instead of the deed or something that you don't like about the individual. Like, I don't know why we can't do that. I don't know why we can't separate those two things, but it is what it is. And I'm
Yeah.
saying, just outside of all that, just looking at wrestling, Logan Paul is a generational talent, and if he stays the course in wrestling, he will be one of the best to ever do it.
True facts.
Yeah.
True facts. I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. We also then find out that next week on Raw, Lyra Valkyria will put her WWE Women's Championship, Intercontinental Championship, on the line against Dakota Kai, and Judgment Day will finally get their Women's Tag Team Championship match with Bianca Belair and Naomi. That could be next week on Raw. I thought maybe I've got the order wrong. I could have swore next week on Raw, isn't Io Sky going one-on-one with Rhea, or is that like 2 weeks from now?
Oh,
It must be 2 weeks. So,
it's gotta be 2 weeks from now, right?
man, there's a lot of potential for Io Sky to end up coming away with a bunch of gold around her waist. Like, if Judgment Day can win the women's tag championships, then they'd have the tag titles. And then if Io managed to pull an upset victory out of Rhea, she's now the women's world champion and the women's tag champ. That's a lot of clout for Io. A lot of potential there. Now, I'm not sure. I think she'll actually win any of those, because I don't think it's in the cards storyline wise. But man, talk about like a bunch of opportunities to potentially win.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy. And yeah, I think it's in 2 weeks. Io's match with Rhea is in 2 weeks, but next week is the match the matches between.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can only assume that means that Kairi Sane has finally stopped screaming about having her hand slammed in that storage crate. Like, I think she's been screaming the entire time since.
She's been screaming, yes, to this day, just
just wakes up, goes to sleep.
I like how they're snoring and screaming.
Both. She's dedicated.
Yeah.
But that should be good. A returning Kairi Sane, that's good. And all of that leads us into the fifth and final match of the night: Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor in the men's Elimination Chamber qualifying match. And I believe this is for the final spot. So this is for all the cookies.
Finn Balor.
And
yeah, I think I asked you. I think I asked you when we watched this match. Why is Finn Balor so weird? And that's after, because I mean, okay, yeah, I think Seth came out first. Of course, in true Seth wardrobe weirdness, he came out. Yes, exactly. And then Finn comes out with, like, I don't know, a handkerchief or I don't know, something on his head because he's weird. Right, so
yeah, it's not even a mask. It's like he's just got a bag on his head.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. It was like he went to a shoe store that had a really cool bag, and he's like, hand that over. And he put it on his stupid head, and he came out. I don't know why. He's also now taken out all the vowels in his name. So on the back.
True.
So on the back behind him, it's just Finn Balor. And I think it was one N. I think it was like it was like FNNBLR.
I thought it was just FNBLR.
Oh, was it just? Yeah, I think it was just one N, right? Okay. So yeah, just Finn Balor.
He's like, vowels are for losers.
Which cracks me up. And I was really there to talk some mad dash smack. And then I looked at it again, and I'm like, nah, it's actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. And the way it was written, It
Finn
did look
Balor.
pretty cool. And even though he came out there with like essentially a shoe store's brand logo on his face, I don't know what it was. He came out with like just like a trash bag or something
It's
on
like
his
he puts his
face.
travel bag on his head.
Yes, that he made a handkerchief. Uh, or he had a poke. He had a poke before he just backstage, like just before he came out, he had a poke and like he emptied it out and put that on his head and came. I don't know. Whatever the case, it still it came. It looked good. It worked well with the weird packaging because he's a weird weirdo. Um, but he's so. Did I mention he was weird?
You did. He's. It's like if there's two things about him, it's that he's weird and like Irish.
Yes, he's a weird little leprechaun. I can't do that. I can't do that accent that you did for him earlier, but
Yeah, I probably can't do it again. I don't think I was barely but doing it the first time. I always end up like falling off into Scottish instead of Irish.
yeah, I can understand that. I always fall into don't do it.
Faith and Begora, I'm here to win the Elimination Chamber match. You'll not be having me pot of gold, Seth freaking Rollins.
You'll not be having.
Not be having.
Oh, a little bit
That's
of
Finn Balor right there.
like it was like a little bit of just your generic leprechaun accent thrown in with the little of Mike from that chapter. Like you just threw a little bit of that in there. I'm pretty sure he's like begging your pardon. Um, but what did you think about this match?
It was an absolute freaking banger. I mean, all jokes about Finn Balor, and like every time he punches somebody, it's always so funny. Like, "Opa," he just always says,
Oh,
"Apto, elbow."
yeah,
Don't you know? It's just
yeah. You and I can go on and on with that.
oh, but Finn actually took it to Seth, and they freaking went at it. This was a fantastic match. These two brought their A game and just beat each other bananas. And it really did. It was one of those fantastic matches that just came down to whoever hits the next big move is going to win. Because early on in the match, Finn Balor drills Rollins, who attempted the pedigree and gets countered, and then Finn does the pedigree to him, and Finn throws a pedigree better than damn Triple H. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was better than the one Seth Rollins hits him back with at a later point in the match, but like they were just giving each other everything. It was good. It was like the best of both of their move sets. I want to say Seth was able to hit the superplex into the Falcon Arrow on Balor, and Balor hit like the reverse, like kind of chop down DDT like twice on him. And as mentioned, there was a trading of pedigrees. I mean, these guys really brought it, and it was super good. And near the end, I guess Seth pulled out a random sharpshooter. And I was like, okay, because you don't see Seth hit the sharpshooter too often, but he locked in a really good one on Finn, and Finn manages to crawl to the ropes. And later on, as we head to near the end of the match, Finn Balor drills Seth Rollins with the coup de grace, and I'm like, oh man, that's it. Finn Balor's going to the Elimination Chamber, but Seth kicks out. But immediately following the kick out, Finn wraps him up into a crossface. And I'm like, oh snap, Finn is not fucking around.
Yeah.
And then in like probably the coolest counter into a finishing move that I've ever seen, Rollins spins him out, and I thought he was going for like a pin, but he doesn't. He rolls him backwards, and it leaves Finn Balor like kind of on all fours, and Seth jumps up, runs off the ropes, and hits the stomp, and it's just like that. And Seth ends up winning, but it was like a nail biter the whole time. Like it could have gone either way, right to the end. These two really freaking brought it. Easily match of the night was
Yeah.
Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, easily, and that's no disrespect to any of the other matches that were on the card. It's just this one was on another level. These guys were really bringing it, and it really made me believe that both of these guys really want into the Elimination Chamber, and that it's really important to both of them to get to go to WrestleMania. And perfect. It was great.
Yeah.
That is what I thought of that match. How about you?
I thought it was not only entertaining, but it did a great job of making, like you just said, essentially you just said what I'm about to say, but it did an amazing job of making both of these guys look great.
Yeah.
And really evenly matched. Like Finn did not look like like he was out of his league, out of his element, whatever, and he shouldn't. Same thing with Seth. They did great. They sold each other's moves very well. Um, and there was an urgency, like you said. There was a
Yeah.
feeling of an urgency of a strong need from both competitors to win this
win.
match. They both
Yes.
really wanted to win this match. And you could feel that. So that was
But
legit.
I also wanted to mention that both were selling the injuries that they were trying to deliver on one another. Like Seth Rollins early on starts kicking
Going
the
after
crap
that
out of
knee.
Finn Balor's knee, and
Yeah.
Finn is selling that for the entire rest of the match, probably even hobbled out of the ring when he left.
Yeah.
And Rollins, in kind, Finn Balor absolutely demolished Seth Rollins' ribs and midsection. And so, like, at a certain point in the match, Rollins is selling being kind of out of breath and struggling with some of his moves for the whole thing. And so both guys were just really bringing it, really selling it. I mean, it was the total opposite of what I was criticizing earlier about, like, you know, the things that take me out of it and remind me, oh, this is predetermined. This
Yeah.
sold me on everything. Like, this looked legitimately like a contest between these two men really trying to win a spot in the Elimination Chamber to go to WrestleMania. They were amazing. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm totally taking off on your portion, so go ahead.
No, I was essentially done. I was impressed by both men. Um, and for me, uh, this kind of match for Finn felt like, man, I know he didn't win. I know that he did win, but it felt like a really like a match that if I were Finn, I'd probably put it in my put it on my resume. It's probably one of my
Yeah,
favorites. Like one of my
top matches.
like one
Yeah,
of, yeah, because I mean it really was good. It's a
yeah,
great match. He looked great. Seth looked great. I like the fact that Seth has never leaned into being one or the other when it comes to being a face or a heel. He's always just been Seth. Um, and I like that. He'll even put logic to how he feels, how his character feels about something. Which I also like. And so him going after Finn's knee and being kind of brutal about going after his knee was refreshing. Actually, it was refreshing to see because people embrace him as a face, like they just say that he's a face. He does not say that he's a face, but people tend to think that he is. And even with that, he's like, cool story. I'm still about to go after this knee like I am the biggest
yeah.
villain that you ever done saw. And and he did, and that was great.
I agree with you. I think Seth Rollins kind of transcends the whole face heel thing. He's
He
just
does.
Seth freaking Rollins. I mean,
Yeah.
and the crowd's going to be over for him regardless of whether he's playing either role.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, fantastic match. I agree with what you're saying. Like this felt almost like a, I don't want to say reminder, but it kind of is. But this is another level up for Finn Balor. Like Balor's been around for a long time and he's always been a good wrestler, but he needs like matches and spots to convey a character that put him more on the map, because he had the like whole like excellent in the ring but vanilla is shit otherwise. And so
Yeah.
Balor standing out more has always been what he needed to do. Him and AJ Styles are in that kind of same boat. One of the most boring, unfortunate matches I've ever seen was AJ versus Finn, because there was no heat and no stakes on it that anybody cared about.
I remember
So
that match.
it's about making everybody in the universe, the WWE universe that's watching, all of the fans care about, the outcome of this match, because we care about the people that are involved. And
Yeah.
this was great. I mean, I really felt the fight between these two guys. They both wanted it something fierce. And that's exactly what you want me to do. If I'm a fan watching pro wrestling, if you can make me forget and we all know it, that this is a scripted product, and make me believe that I just watched you two knock the lights out of one another to get to go to WrestleMania, then you have succeeded.
Yeah.
And this was that. This was a fantastic match. So that having been said, how would you rate this episode of WWE Raw?
You know, I'm gonna say that it was top tier. I'd give it an 8 or so. Because it had a good little flow to it. The matches, I can't think of a match that I didn't enjoy. Even the match with Penta and um
PD Dunn?
PD Dunn, yeah. Even though Pete Dunne was his opponent, I was still into the match. And Pete Dunne didn't look bad. He didn't look bad at all in the match. I give him a hard time because he's not one of my favorites, and I'm just not into the small wrestlers with the finger manipulation. Just it's not my cup of tea. Um, but that doesn't mean that he's bad. So yeah, I'd give it about an 8, maybe an 8.25. If I was gonna be that person. Good overall show. Yeah, I liked it. Top tier.
Yep. I'm going to completely agree with you on all counts. This was worth 8 neck nubs,
Hmm.
mainly because it fired on all cylinders, and you had that real blow away match between Finn and Seth.
Great match.
Everything
Absolutely.
else was okay to good. Like,
Mhm.
it was all right, but that match was really good. And so, all things being equal on balance, I have to agree. It was top tier, 8 neck nubs. And with that said, I want to thank everybody who has rejoined us. We've been gone for a little bit, but we should be back on and covering all of the favorite wrestling shows that everyone likes. So I appreciate everyone who has listened thus far, and I hope you will join us for our next episode. But for now, that has been our coverage of WWE Raw for February 17th. And until then, I don't think there's a whole lot left for me to do but roll the outro.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest AEW and WWE news and shows. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. Follow us on social media for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.